Together United is the final installment in the All Because You Matter picture book trilogy. With its message of unity, it reminds us that alone we are strong, but together we can be unstoppable. Hi, I'm Dan Skinner, and welcome to the Kids Bookshelf. Ahead, we'll explore the book, and I'll talk with the author about the inspiration behind it. Tami Charles is the New York Times best-selling author of numerous books for young readers, including the picture books All Because You Matter and We Are Here, and the novels Muted, Like Vanessa, and Becoming Beatriz, among others. She joins us to talk about her picture book, Together United. Tami, welcome to the Kids Bookshelf.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Well, this is the third book in a trilogy, so tell us about this series.
Well, so Together United actually started with All Because You Matter, which is a love letter to children. That's my son on the cover, by the way. And We Are Here, which is a celebration of history. It's the evidence of the legacy of those who came before us. And then we have this, the cherry on top. Together United is a proclamation. It's a way forward. It really is a passing of the torch, reminding children of the gifts that they have right now and what happens when they bring their gifts together and their strength in that. So it's been a wonderful culmination of a project that I wrote so lovingly for children. And what I really love about this is when you put all three books together, it makes a complete statement. All Because You Matter, We Are Here, Together United.
So what inspired this series?
You know, I never thought that it was going to be a series in the first place. This book, it was just supposed to be a one-off picture book that was sparked by a question that my little boy asked me when he was in kindergarten. He learned about Dr. King and he came home and he said, "Mom, I understand what Dr. King did, but I don't understand why the bad guys hurt him." So he was in kindergarten, and that was a question that really blew my mind. And I said, wow, like he understood Dr. King's legacy, but he had a question about injustice and unfairness. And if my little boy is asking me this, I can only imagine what other children ask their parents based upon what they learn in history. So I really wanted to write something from a place of love, something that reminds children and readers of why they matter. And, you know, there's a place for them here in the world. So it was supposed to just be this book, but more conversations grew out of this one book with my little boy. And during the pandemic, we were all stuck at home and, you know, this book published and he wanted to talk more. He had more thought-provoking questions. And I realized, you know, I'm a bit of a history nerd. I love history. I love the civil rights movement. I love learning about hidden figures and people who worked so hard long ago to afford us the opportunities that we have today. So I wrote We Are Here as an evidence of, you know, people who came before did all the hard work. But for the third book, I said, okay, there was a certain, vibe in those first two books, but now we're passing the torch here with Together United. We're charging the children with using their gifts to make the world a better place. And they can do it.
Will you read a small portion of the book for us to give us a taste of what readers are going to find here?
Absolutely. But first, I want to show the picture. I love this. Bryan Collier is the illustrator. And what he did with the art, if I can explain that very quickly, he took your typical American classroom and he put them on a trip to the planetarium. Now, I don't know if you remember going on a class trip, the excitement that children feel when they step outside of what they know in the four walls of their classroom. It's unity in action. It's learning about the stars and the planets and how massive it is, but also that you have a place in it. So in this particular part of the book where they're in the planetarium, I say, our gifts shine bright for all to see. Me, I am poetry. Justice in action, amor on the page. I write words with love to remind you you matter today and always. Oh, but you? Who else could dare do the things you do? Your voice is your power, conductor of peace, a smooth melody over a jazz beat. Magnetic, kinetic, definitely prophetic. You inspire everyone you meet. Bryan goes into classrooms and he takes pictures of the kids as they are, and he tells them, just be yourself, do whatever comes naturally. And he captures these kids in their element. To me, that's them shining their gifts. And you see that in your typical classroom. You have the talker, you have the shy kid, you have the scientist. Like, everyone has a gift to share with the world. So that's probably my favorite part of the book, is where I tell the kids just how much they inspire us as adults.
And the way you write, the poetry here, I think of adults that are going to be reading this to a child. And this is one that I think adults would enjoy reading to a child, and reading it over and over again, which typically happens with picture books, that you're going to get more into the rhythm each time you read it, and maybe get different levels of understanding as you read it multiple times.
That's what I love about picture books. I read them like outside of my own. I buy picture books all the time. And there are certain books that I return to time and time again, because for some reason I always find something new or different that I didn't notice in the text or in the art. I'm always picking out new things. And that is the power of a picture book. It truly is the type of book that is for everyone.
So this book, as we pointed out, is the end of a trilogy, which at first you didn't know was going to be a trilogy, but it all fits together nicely. So how do you feel about ending that trilogy now?
It's happy, sad with a dash in between both words. I'm so proud of this project. I'm proud of what it has grown to be. It's a little sad because, this was a project that was born out of a single question by my 5-year-old, who is not 5 anymore. That's the sad part. He's 15. A decade later, time is a thief. Time is fleeting. But what makes me happy is I now get to share this trilogy with a new generation of readers, and hopefully they'll share it with the next generation. My greatest hope is that this is the type of book set that it's like a gift that keeps on giving. My son, I hope that he will share it with his children, and his children will share it with their children. I think the messages of love and kindness and empathy, these are timeless topics that will stand the test of time. So happy, but a little sad.
And in this latest book, you not only celebrate the individual skills that children bring into the world, but you do point out that together we're more than that. Together we're unstoppable. So tell us a little bit more about that message that you hope that kids are going to take away from the book.
Yeah, I think there's a line in the book where I tell the kids that alone they are a wonder. What do I mean by that? By they are a wonder. The things that the gift that they have for themselves, it's beautiful, it's wonderful, whatever that gift may be. It could be, maybe you're a great basketball player. Maybe you do hair and you do beautiful hairstyles, but some gifts are meant to be shared to make other people better. Think about what a hairstylist does. A hairstylist feeds you with confidence. That's a gift to share with others. My son plays basketball. I love watching him play basketball, but there's a teamwork that has to happen in that sport. You can't just play basketball by yourself. It's your gift. You have to share it with others. So I think that the ultimate goal here is just to show children and readers that you can take your gift that you have. Yes, it's great that you have it and it's for you, but ultimately when you share it, there's strength in that.
You've written books for older readers as well, novels.
Yes.
But I'm wondering what's special about writing a picture book. What do you enjoy about speaking to that audience?
You know, I have to tell you, writing a picture book is way harder than writing a novel. The average person would assume otherwise. But when you write a picture book, you really you have to think bigger than just the words that you're putting on the page. You have to think about your audience. You have to think about the art. And I can't draw. I wish I could. I'm a stick figure queen, but in my mind, I can see the pictures and they look very much like Bryan Collier's art. But there's so much to think about artistically. What is it that you're trying to share? But also putting your hands up and letting the artist interpret the story in their own artistic way. There's so many parts and segments that come along with writing a picture book. It's terrifying, but it's also exciting because you want to leave room for the art, but you also want to leave room for the child who is reading the book to give them a chance to experience the story in their own way. It's all very complicated, but beautiful at the same time.
Well, as we discuss some of the takeaways, and there are others in this book as well, but one of the takeaways is celebrating how special you are as an individual and what you can do together to make a difference in the world. So what advice would you have for a kid who's inspired and says, I want to make a difference? What would you tell them?
I get this question a lot when I go on school visits, and the kids tend to ask me during the Q&A, what can you do right now? And usually I get this question from a kid who wants to write a story. And my answer typically is, if you want to write or fill in the blank with whatever it is that you want to do, take what you have right now and begin. Don't wait. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an author, but I really didn't think it was possible. I thought that I had to be a certain age. I thought that I had to have a certain amount of money. I thought it cost $1 million to publish a book. And my family, we weren't rich. We didn't have all of the resources, but you have resources within you to start working on your gift right now. So if you want to tell a story, find the paper, find the pencil. Get to it. Take what you have right now and begin.
As we mentioned before, you write for various ages, but I'm curious, what's next for you?
Wow, what's next? So I do have another book. I'm so excited that I'm going to publish with Bryan Collier. We're still working on it though. But we have a book about Aretha Franklin. So I'm excited about that. I think it'll come out in maybe a year or two. Like I said, we're still working on it, but it's very exciting that I get to team up with Bryan. And I do have some forthcoming books with Scholastic as well. Oh, and the most exciting part, I can't leave without saying this. You see this little boy on the cover? He is 15 now. And he said to me last year, Mom, you wrote a book about me. When are you going to write a book with me? So we wrote a book together. It's called That Beautiful Mind, and it publishes with Scholastic, I believe, next October. So stay tuned for that.
The book is Together United, written by Tami Charles and illustrated by Bryan Collier. Tami, thank you for talking with me today.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
If you'd like to purchase Together United, I've placed a link for you in the description below. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe, like, and click on the bell so you know when I post new interviews. Meanwhile, here are 2 more books you might find interesting. Well, thank you for watching this edition of the Kids Bookshelf. I'm Dan Skinner. Until next time, keep sharing the gift of reading.